today for our carry of the week today, I am going to talk a little bit about ring slings. So, first of all, I want to introduce you to our new library edition ring sling that we have. Just picked this up for the library today, and it is a gorgeous Netta baby wrap conversion. I want to say it's called Nebula. I can't 100% remember, but it's actually, I don't know if you can see the tag or not, it is a silk and cotton blend, which is really exciting. So it's really soft and just really cuddly, and I hope that everybody is going to really enjoy it. So first, I'll talk a little bit about the ring sling in itself. So with a ring sling, it's going to be a one shoulder carry. It's basically going to come up and sit on your shoulder. And just to kind of show, this is actually pretty much exactly where you want it to be sitting. You want the sling rings themselves to be sitting right at what they would call brooch level. And that's going to be, if you see my collarbone is about right here, so it's just sitting under where my collarbone would be. And then you also want your shoulder to kind of flare out and cap your shoulder just a little bit. A lot of times you'll see ring slings where it's kind of pulled up and pulling on your neck area right here, which is what you don't want to have. So this is about how the ring sling is going to sit. It's going to be a one shoulder carry, and then the rest of this part of the ring sling is going to come across your body. And you can either do a front carry with a smaller baby, or kind of sometimes a bigger baby. They just tend to get a little bit higher up in your face. But you can do a front carry where the baby will sit with their head and the rest of their body just down, or you can do a hip carry, which is probably what I'll show you with my baby in just a minute when I get her there. Or for a very experienced wearer, you can do a back carry with your rings still ending where you can see them. You always want to see your rings and have your ring placement where you can monitor them, just to make sure that there's no slippage. So it is going to be that one shoulder carry, but a lot of people do still really like them as babies get bigger. They're really quick to just kind of pop baby in and out, so it's a really handy tool to have in your arsenal, especially during those toddler years. So to break down the ring sling, first we have these two rings that are stitched in, and you always want to look for, in a good quality ring sling, you always want to make sure there's multiple rows of stitching and just a lot of protection to make sure that that fabric piece can't come undone in any way, shape, or form. Your rings, you want to make sure, are a metal ring blend or a metal ring. And there are some nylon rings that are acceptable, but typically we're going to look for an unseamed metal. If it has any sort of a seam on it, then it can snag the inside of your material and possibly cause holes. And then from there we have what would be called the rail of the ring sling, and that's just the hemmed pieces. So you'll have, once you put it onto your body and it comes around, you're going to have a top rail, and then you're going to have your bottom rail that's going to sit underneath. So that's basically just those hemmed edges. So as we go through, I'll kind of talk about that as well. So the first thing that you're going to want to do when you get your ring sling is to thread your ring sling. And one of my favorite ways of doing it is just to go ahead and put the rings on your body, and you're going to pull your rails and just kind of slowly gather them up together. And then this piece is going to be called the tail of your ring sling. So you're just going to take that tail of your ring sling and thread it through right here. So we've got it just going through both of the rings at the same time, and that's how you're going to start off by threading. I'm going to go ahead and make a little bit of a pocket, and from there we're going to make sure that this top rail is closest to the top, just to kind of keep it straight, and that the bottom rail is down onto the bottom right here. So just make sure bottom's near the bottom, top's near the top, and we're going to try to keep it a little bit straight as we go. So what I'm going to do there is I'm just going to flip this over my shoulder for a second, and I'm going to come to these rings, and I'm going to take the topmost one and just kind of push it back, which is going to leave me an opening in this bottom rail right here, or the bottom ring. And then I'm going to, this one's a little bit long for me, it's probably a large or extra large, so I've got a lot of tail left to kind of deal with, but I'm going to find the tip of my tail, and I am just going to pull it through. just like so. Then I'm just gonna work on getting it threaded all the way through. So now that I have it threaded through, what I'm then gonna do, just to make sure that everything is set where the rails that I can find them, I'm gonna push my bottom ring down just a little bit again, and I'm going to just take my fingers and gather these pieces. So that way I can find top rail, bottom rail, and just keep them nice and straight. So one thing that you want to make sure that you're doing as well when you're tightening a ring sling is you want to take this top rail and you're going to follow it parallel with the top rail pouch that you made. So when I pull it, I'm going to slightly pull up to open my rings, and I'm going to just pull over and down. And my middle section, I'm just going to pull down very gently. And then my bottom rail, I'm going to pull kind of out into the side. And you can see how that's going to keep everything in that ring nice and straight. So another kind of good trick is when you're starting off to size, to sort of just judge how much pouch that you're going to need in your ring sling itself before you put baby in. You can kind of pre-tighten by taking your elbow and sticking it down inside of the pocket. So I like to try to think of these in thirds too. So about this much of it is what you're gonna flip up and under the baby's bottom. So you can also see how I'm doing that here. I'm taking my thumb and I'm just gonna flip it up. So if that's how the baby's butt was, that's exactly what I would do. So about that much material flipped up, it's just gonna kind of nestle under the baby. So from there, I'm just gonna kind of eyeball about how big my toddler is and keep my arm sort of sitting in about that position. As I said, top rail is gonna come over to tighten a little bit. I'm gonna tighten my middle just a little bit, and my bottom rail doesn't need too much tightening. So I've got it a little bit pre-tightened. And what I'm gonna do real quick, just to kind of show you before she gets too antsy, is I'll go ahead and put her in a hip carry just to sort of show you what that will look like. So, what I'm going to do is grab her and start her off on the shoulder that has my rings, so that way I can take this other hand. She's not being very cooperative today, obviously. And I'm going to go in between my body and the ring sling and just kind of pull that fabric out. And then I'm going to, if she will let me, feed her feet. Hey. Into the ring sling. Hey. Oh. So we're gonna do it on the other side just because she's being a little bit different today. All right, so if I can get her to cooperate here, what I want to show you. Rose, just a second. I'll give you another candy. Do you want another candy? Okay, hold on. We're gonna bribe with candy real quick. Give me 2 seconds. Candy bribe. I have children that actually love candy corn, so good pro tip. Candy bribery. Candy bribery for making videos. Okay, so what I was hoping to show you here, now that I've got her a little bit situated, is the way that she is sitting just kind of on this tube of fabric. And you can see how, if I can back up just a little bit, how her knees are coming up above her bum. So she's already got a pretty decent position and seat. And what I'm gonna do from there is just find this top rail. Hi. And I'm just going to spread it up and over her back. One more. More candy corn. There you go. Alright, so once I have that spread across her back, you can see how she's pretty much already fairly snug because of that pre-tightening that I did. But I am going to just reach underneath her body. And again, as I mentioned with my thumb, just lock my thumb on that bottom rail. And just make sure that it is pulled up to nestle her legs. Did you drop your candy corn? Oh, there we go. Okay, you got it. So so that way it is 100% knee to knee, all nice and secure. And because she was kind of, what? And because she was fighting with me, I'll show you where my ring placement currently is. And this is not going to be good or comfortable for anybody. So I'm then going to take and pull and bounce and bounce. Okay, stop. Toddlers. And make sure that my rings get adjusted the way that I want them to be. So I actually feel like she's just a tiny bit tight in some areas. So to loosen up, if you need to loosen, you're just going to take this top ring and just kind of open it, and that's going to let the material slide through just a little bit. So I let that slide through just a teeny bit. Bye. Oh, it's ready. It's not quite ready. And then you can see the slack that I have in this top rail. So to work out your slack in a ring sling, you're going to just follow all that slack and move it towards your ring. So you can see, okay, hold on. There we go. So you can see, if I can get her hand out of the way, how I've got this amount of slack right here, and I'm going to, again, pull slightly up to open my rings, and then over and across, just to kind of move some of that slack out so you can see where it went. So, that is a toddler ring sling. Also want to make sure that your fabric is spread across your back, just to make sure that it's nice and comfortable. And that is that. I'll come back and do a newborn and a front carry in